Welcome to our podcast, Fuck the Diet Cycle, with myself, Laura Knight, and Abby Lodge. This is for you if you want to cut through the diet industry bullshit and finally end that cycle. Grab yourself a cuppa, get comfy, and let's dive straight in, shall we? Welcome to this week's podcast where we have the amazing Jeanette from Phoenix Wellness Coaching. Jeanette, can you introduce yourselves to our followers, please?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, ladies. And it's really good to be here talking about my passion, which is a really strange thing to say, but helping women to thrive and succeed through menopause. So a little bit about me. I am a 59-year-old postmenopausal lady, soon to be 60, which is hugely frightening, but there you go. Never thought I'd get this far. I have been running my business, Phoenix Wellness Coaching, since October 2020. So, one of those things, came out of menopause and in the middle of a pandemic, left my secure job in the civil service to set up on my own. I mean, why wouldn't you? In for a penny, in for a pound. I am passionate about menopause, about giving education to women at all stages and all ages as well, because the more we can learn about it, the more we know what to do. I'm also passionate about getting women to think differently about menopause, that it doesn't have to be, I'm over the hill, I'm old, it's an ending, it's all going to be horrendous, but starting to think about it in terms of this is a normal, natural phase of life. It's actually just like puberty in reverse. So we're getting younger, not getting older, but it's an absolute opportunity. And if you think of it in a positive way, you can grab the opportunities that menopause gives you. For me, I went into perimenopause at age 47 and didn't know anything about it, didn't even know what perimenopause was. But I suddenly went from being a very positive, confident person to being horrendously anxious, scared, lacking confidence, and really unhappy. I went to my GP, who signed me off with depression, which was both a kick in the teeth, but also really nice because it gave a name to what I was feeling. We didn't think about perimenopause, which is crazy because at 47, that should have been high on the list. But I went away with antidepressants and signed off and counselling. Did that, fantastic. But then other symptoms showed up: sleeplessness, loss of confidence, putting on weight, migraines, which I hadn't had since I was a teenager. All these different things kept popping up. Went to the GP. Here's some more tablets to deal with that. We'll deal with this. But again, it wasn't actually until I was 55 that a GP said to me, perhaps this is menopause. In fact, you should be postmenopausal by now. And that was, again, another revelation, at which point, everything we talked about, I didn't have the normal symptoms of the changes in your periods because I had a contraceptive implant that stopped my periods. So didn't have those real straightforward indicators. But we removed the implant and happy to say no period, which was fantastic. We all know what a pain they can be, literally. So that was liberation. Got on HRT, which turned things around overnight. But in all of this, I was holding down a senior role in the civil service, really struggling with brain fog, which nobody really gets. Suddenly you lose words mid-sentence and you think, what was I doing? I laugh about it now because I lost how to spell the word does.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't work out where the O and the E went. I knew they were in there, but didn't know the order. Just could not think about it, which I laugh now because it's such a simple word. But that is so debilitating at the time because you think, I'm literally losing my mind. I saw colleagues that were younger than me getting promotions, roles and projects that I should have been doing in my role were going to other people. And I started to feel marginalized, invisible, overlooked, all those sorts of things. And then on top of that, along came the pandemic. Boom, the world changed. For me, it changed in remarkable ways because from having a 4-hour commute to and from the office, I suddenly had a 5-second commute to my office at home, which gave me time back. I then spent that time learning about menopause, learning about me, did my own coaching. And during that time, I reconnected with my dream to run my own business, which I had when I was 30, but did nothing about it. And then in October 2020, Phoenix Wellness Coaching was born, and I left my civil service job, which was really scary because I'd never been a business owner or an entrepreneur. So, you know, when you sat down in front of the computer for the first day running your own business, didn't have a clue what I was doing. I had my laptop, I had my phone, I had my diary, but I didn't know what I was doing. But all I knew was I wanted to help all those thousands of women that are going through menopause, will go through it, or have been through it. I wanted to help them to have a much better journey than I did. I wanted to give them knowledge, I wanted to give them understanding, and I wanted to work with them to actually harness the positives it can bring. And I also wanted to work with employers. I have 20 years in HR, and I didn't want to lose that experience. And I wanted to go back, having worked in diversity and equality for many years, wanted to go back and say to employers, do you know what a trick you're missing here by not supporting these women? I was one of the 900,000 women that left their job in the 2019-2020 period. And you know, you're losing so much talent. And also for women leaving their jobs, it's not good unless you're going into your own business, which many do. Actually, you're really hampering your financial stability and independence for the future. So that's basically what I do. I teach women about menopause. I do one-to-one coaching, helping them to understand their fears and get over that, and then to make the workplace a better place. That's my passion.
That is incredible, absolutely incredible. And I think it's something that is so needed. So I was just having this conversation with Lauren previously. I do feel like menopause is not spoke about enough until you reach that age. Like, I'm talking from school age, it's like, you know, girls growing up, puberty, menstruation, having babies, and then there's like nothing for afterwards. So I actually know somebody who went through the menopause at a very early age of 25, and at that time it was like, what is actually happening? She had no idea about the menopause, what it was, you know, anything like that. And I do feel like GPs do just push you to the wayside, and unless you are in full-blown menopause, they do not want to know you. And I've had so many clients come to me, and they're explaining these things that are occurring, and I'm like, you know, don't want to kind of upset them by saying, have you thought about menopause? But obviously I do have to say that. And they're like, I have, but the GP is saying no. And it's like, why is there not enough out there for these women to get the help that they need to actually learn about these things? And like you said, there's so many different kind of symptoms and things like that occur, that it's like, it's just absolutely mind-blowing.
I completely agree. We should be learning about this when we're children.
Yes.
At school, when we learn about puberty. And let's be very clear here, the sex education, which is what it is really when they do that at school, is aimed at public health side. So to stop unwanted teenage pregnancies.
Yes.
Fundamentally, it's not actually to give women, you know, girls and boys knowledge about how their bodies work. It's to make sure that we're not spending too much money on unwanted pregnancies. And I get that. But also there's this thing about, there's a pride around as you go through puberty. I don't know if your mum was as old-fashioned as mine, but she used to kind of embarrass me by talking to her friends about, oh, she's got her first bra. Oh, she's had her first period. Oh, how was that? And it's like almost a badge of honor. You've gone through that life stage. But there is still a massive stigma and taboo around menopause, because in Western cultures, we still see it as, somehow it means we're getting old. We're over the hill, we're finished. You know, you move into the crone stage, which sounds horrible. So you automatically think of old age. And it doesn't have to be that way. As you've said, lady at 25 going through it. Menopause can happen at any age. The premature menopause is really a small number of ladies. It's something like 0.01%, but it still happens. But you can find yourself, I know one of my friends, she went into early menopause in her early 30s because she was having chemotherapy. That induced early menopause. When she came off of the chemotherapy, she went back into having her periods again. So really weird.
Wow.
But it can happen. So surgical or medical menopause can happen a lot younger. It can also happen a lot older. And you're right, the GPs, love them, they do a great job. they don't have the education. There's never been a push around women's health. It's better now. We have the government's women's health strategy, although don't get me started on why we have to have a separate strategy. It should have been in there in the first place for 50% of this blinking world. So why wasn't it there? But there is education happening. You can get appointments now with menopause specialist nurses.
Okay.
But again, they're volunteers that go in to do that. I work with a fantastic menopause nurse. She went into that role because she had such a hard time and nearly left the NHS completely.
Wow.
But no, it's voluntary. Current GPs don't have to do menopause training. New doctors coming through, it's still optional, but there's much bigger push through the strategy to get them actually doing the training. But they rely on blood tests, which are wholly unreliable. And the number of ladies that go to their GP in their late 30s, early 40s or younger, and the GP says, nope, you're too young, go away.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's
But
the too young thing.
Yeah, you're experiencing this. You know your body.
Yeah.
And again, understanding the changes you go through is really important. Understanding what normal looks like for you. So you can go to the GP and say, no, you're wrong. I've got this, and this. Here's my body map. I've been experiencing it for this length of time. It's different to anything before.
Yeah.
Something isn't right.
Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you was talking about yourself and your experience. My mum, when she started experience perimenopause, the same sort of thing happened. So she was very anxious. So my mum's very bubbly, outgoing. All of a sudden, the anxiety kicked in. She questioned her every move. She was getting the brain fog. She started getting heart palpitations.
Yes.
She just completely felt like she was living in her body, but it wasn't her. And again, she didn't have the knowledge of what was happening to her. She just felt like she was having a bit of a midlife crisis and a mental breakdown. And she too was palmed off with, oh, you're going through a stage of depression, or you just hit this certain part of your life where things are changing, and actually it's just all mental health. And it wasn't until she came across, I'm not sure how she came across it, and maybe you'll be able to explain, but she found something about how many different symptoms there actually are. And she did what you just kind of said and ticked off and said, right, hold on a minute, I've got this. And I think it worked out that she had something along the lines of 28 to 30 different symptoms that then she was able to go back and say, okay, now explain this to me.
Yeah, absolutely. There are all sorts of lists that you can find that will give you lists of symptoms, anything from 30 to over 60. And what we have to recognize is estrogen, which is the hormone that really reduces a lot at menopause. Estrogen is such an important hormone for our bodies. It's involved in over 400 natural functions and processes, from brain health to stomach health to digestion, to actually telling the body to release serotonin. So it's a really important hormone. And we have estrogen receptors all over our bodies, inside and out, because it's so important. And that's why you can get so many symptoms. So right from the top of your head, you can get trouble with your scalp, with your hair, with your skin, dry eyes, itchy eyes. You can get throat infections, tinnitus, going down, palpitations, anxiety, stomach issues. The amount of ladies that actually, as they go through their early 40s and hit that menopausal stage, that get diagnosed with stomach ulcers or end up with endoscopies and are given omeprazole tablets because of acid reflux, is huge. I went through that. Food intolerances, we're told we're gluten or lactose intolerant. Again, we're not physically that intolerant. It's simply because of the lack of estrogen that is involved so heavily in all of our digestive and food functions and that in our bodies.
That's amazing. Well, it's scary, actually.
It is scary that, we kind of, these things happen and we go to the GP and they're like, kind of, they do palm you off. And I think one of the major things, especially in the roles that myself and Lauren do, is weight gain and the menopause. Like, so many women hit that age, they start, and then they're like, oh, I can't possibly lose weight, and I've hit the menopause. Do you have any advice for ladies who are gaining weight through menopause and things like that?
So weight gain isn't necessarily an absolute given at menopause, but it is part of it. We have to recognize that as we go into our late 30s, 40s and beyond, our bodies don't function as well as they used to. So it does mean that, you're not using up the calories as quickly as you used to do. But the thing to recognize is that what you used to do in your 20s, sadly, ladies, you can't do anymore. So you can't go out and eat donuts and drink copious amounts of wine, not exercise and get up the next day and expect to stay a size 8 or a size 10. It ain't going to happen. That's the sad reality. So you need to look at your lifestyle. You need to help your body as much as you possibly can, because you don't have the hormones to help you digest that food as quickly. And you don't, your testosterone levels drop. So you don't have the energy levels or even the motivation to want to get yourself down to the gym, pumping iron and getting on that running machine. So what I say to ladies is, if you can look at those things before you get into menopause, brilliant. So look at what you're eating. Look at eating a healthy, balanced diet. There's no silver bullet. It's the usual stuff. Eat well. Eat healthily. Actually, if you can look at some of your plant-based eating, getting phytoestrogens from plants into your body, that's really going to help. Cut down on the stuff we love that's really bad for us. So fizzy drinks, alcohol, caffeine, sugary stuff. So no more chocolate and wine when you're feeling sad, but in moderation. So look at that. Also think about your exercise. And I'm not saying if you're not doing anything, join a gym and become a complete lunatic for the exercise. Just think about how often you can move your body. We only need to move 30 minutes a day and get our heart rate up to make it worthwhile. I don't love the gym. In fact, I hate it, but I love yoga and I love walking. So I walk every day. I practice yoga. Again, that's so good for flexibility, coordination, and relaxation, because stress will make you put on weight. And then I actually do a fantastic workout with a lady and a couple of other menopausal ladies in the park on a Sunday morning. We do a little bit of weight training, only 2 kilograms, so not massive weights, but we're just putting our bodies under that pressure. And then we walk for 5 minutes, stop, do a few more weights and walk. And it's so much better. So, try to move your body and find exercise that you enjoy doing, whether that is going and learning salsa or Zumba, where you're with other people. If it makes you laugh, it's good for you as well.
Yeah, I love that. What about those women that are going through menopause and they're at that stage where actually it can be quite overwhelming? It can be making them feel like they can't step out of the front door, and actually every day seems to be a fight. Do you have any tips for them to feel like they can get through that day? Because I know I've got a couple of clients at the moment that are really struggling with their mental health because of what they're going through, and sometimes it just feels a little too much.
Oh, absolutely. It can be really overwhelming. When I was at my worst, I quite happily pulled the covers over my head and stayed there. And I remember my GP saying to me, are you having suicidal thoughts? And I said to her, well, not really, but hey, wouldn't bother me if I didn't wake up tomorrow. Wow. Which is a really sad thing. But actually recognizing overwhelm is really important to take on board. It's our brain telling us we're doing too much. This is hard for us. It's trying to look after us. So I always say, welcome that thought, but as a positive thing, and look at what can I do. Talk to people, find your network. Ladies like yourself, or what I do, reach out, talk to them. Somebody that will give you that empathetic shoulder with no judgment, that will help you. I had a client once who had that same problem, almost agoraphobic. Can't even say it. Agoraphobic. Didn't want to step outside the door. We used to meet on Zoom and just talk. I used to just let her talk and I would listen, not giving her any things to do, because sometimes that's all you need to do is talk to someone. We got to the stage where she said, I really do want to go outside. And it's like, okay, let's do this in very small steps. Don't go from I can't go outside to I'm going to get in the car and drive 20 miles, or I'm going to go back to the office. Small steps, and celebrate it. So I went round to her house. She came, opened the front door, she held my hand, and we walked to the end of her driveway and back again. Doesn't sound a lot, but it was a massive step for her. And actually, you're not alone. It can be really overwhelming. We don't talk enough about the mental health impacts of menopause. It's all physical symptoms, hot flushes, night sweats, which incidentally happen very much towards the end of the process. It's the mental health, the lack of confidence, the low self-esteem, the I can't do this anymore, nobody understands, brain fog, all of those things that happen first and foremost. First off, recognize this is normal. You're not, going mad. You're not crazy. This is one of those things, but it is temporary. Find someone who you can talk to that will listen with no judgment, will empathize with you, and will help you when you feel ready to go out. And when you do feel ready to go out, join something that I've just started locally where I am in Kent, which is a menopause cafe, which is 2 hours in a cafe with other women who are going through what you're going through. You can come, you can have a coffee, and you can talk. You don't have to talk if you don't want to. You can just sit and listen. But it's a community of support. And that's the biggest thing. For me, having a girlfriend who used to show up on my doorstep at least once a day and say, right, let's get the kettle on. How's things going? Do you want to talk? And if I didn't, she'd say to me, should we go for a walk? Should we just walk down to the end of the road and back? And that really made a difference. So it's finding, you've got your tribe out there. Find them and use them. Definitely.
I love that. So you've mentioned menopause cafes there. Like, honestly, I don't know, Ab, if you're feeling the same, but I've actually got my hairs of just going up on end.
Yeah.
I know how much this is going to make people go, wow, I'm not actually on my own. And I think that's the biggest thing. The menopause cafes, that's just something that you've created yourself, or are they across?
They're countrywide. So there is a great charity called the Menopause Cafe Charity. And they set up their first menopause cafe in Scotland in 2017. Now they have a format that you can follow. There are menopause cafes online or face-to-face all around the country. I live in the Medway Towns in Kent, and we've just set up our first one. We've just got authorised by the charity to actually run one under their banner. There's 3 of us, myself, the menopause nurse I talked about, and then a lovely lady who works in the local council on public health.
Love.
We are doing them once a month, Saturday afternoon, in a nice coffee shop. Come along, all free, sit down, chat to us. If you want to do more, we can set up more. And we're doing them in lots of different locations, and may even do an online one if that works for people. But if you search Menopause Cafe Charity, they've got a website, you'll find all of their events, and there will be an event probably close to most people. It's a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I think that's going to put a smile on many people's faces.
Absolutely. So basically, you spoke a lot about coming into the menopause and, all these kind of things kind of like happening to your body and stuff. For those people that are currently going through that, what can life look like after the menopause? Because I feel like, I know for like myself and Lauren, we haven't experienced menopause or menopausal symptoms, and we're all like very scared about shit, what's going to happen. But what can your life look like after? Because like you say, it's almost like a very end point. You hit menopause, you're old, life's over, this kind of thing. And I think that's like a taboo in many people's mind. Oh, I'm old now, I'm over it, kind of thing. What can life look like after your menopause?
I would say it can be freaking awesome. It's simple as that. So At age 57, I left the civil service to set up my own company doing this. And my boss at the time, the people director, who was younger than me, I would say, turned around and said, Jeanette, I really admire you. You're so brave. And I thought, oh, that's really nice. She said, going it alone at your age.
Ooh.
Yeah. It was like, okay, there's the sting in the tail. But it's, for me, I always describe my menopause in 3 or 4 simple words: hope, freedom, choice, and self-discovery. Hope,
Love that.
absolutely. Freedom is a simple one. No more periods. Whoopee. Let's be honest, girls. If you still got a really good libido, which sometimes does take a bit of a hit through menopause, but if you still got that, you can get out there and you can have some fun.
I love that.
Get back in touch with your bodies and have some fun. It can be, menopause for me opened up doors that I never thought were there. I thought I was going to be stuck doing a job I didn't enjoy until I retired. That's not true. Menopause demands certain things of you. It demands that you pay attention to you. And we know as women, we're not very good at doing that. We pay attention to everybody else, but not ourselves. So it demands that you look after yourself physically and emotionally. Really get in touch. Self-discovery during the menopause stage is amazing because you suddenly are rewiring in so many different ways, both your mind and your body. Explore what it is that makes you laugh, jump around, have fun, what is you're passionate about. So it gives you that opportunity to look to what you want to do. And actually, it gives you a bit of that kick-ass, I don't care anymore. Yeah. I'm very much a very different person now to the person that went into menopause. Very much calmer, much happier, much more confident in myself. I believe in myself now, which I never used to, and really didn't believe in myself going through menopause. And actually change my lifestyle, walk, all those sorts of things, do more things that I like doing. And if I don't like doing something, I freaking well don't do it. We spend all our lives going, yeah, I'll do it, people pleasing. And I'm now like, don't be afraid to say, I don't want to do that. I don't like it. It doesn't make my heart sing. And because you've gone through that menopausal stage, you have that confidence because you know yourself. So pay attention to the demands of menopause, self-care, self-discovery, look after yourself and explore, try different things. I discovered meditation, chakra healing, all sorts of things like that. And then actually look at the opportunities. So what is it you've always wanted to do? I wanted to set up my own business when I was age 30. Well, I never did it. I didn't have the courage. I listened to too many people. I didn't have the self-belief. So I did it at age 57. I had to wait 27 years to do it, but that's because I needed to find what I wanted to do. And I think post-menopause can be amazing. So I asked a few ladies, what words would you use to describe menopause? And you've heard my ones. Other ones that came up were liberating, empowering, and fabulous. One lady said it was fabulous because she was going through hell, but she was still holding down her full-time senior job and running the family. And she said, I'm freaking fabulous. And you can feel that way as you come out of it. But just remember, pay heed to the demands and grab every opportunity. You will feel different. You will think differently. But I just think you in a much more positive way. So if you've always wanted to be a kick-ass and sassy, you've had that in there, you're going to be more so at post-menopause.
Oh my God, I literally feel, and I've, like I said, I've not even started with all this yet, but all of a sudden I'm like, okay, that doesn't seem so scary.
So scary.
Yeah, I mean, I get the scary. I wrote a blog. I said I felt like little Red Riding Hood running through the forest away from the big bad wolf that was the menopause because I didn't want to face up to it. I wanted to run away. I was scared. As soon as you accept that that's the stage of life you're at and you learn about it and take that knowledge, you don't have anything to be scared of. If you go into it scared, you're going to have a really crappy time.
Yeah.
It's mindset.
100%. You've just touched on the basis of learning more about it, and that's kind of my last question. Do you have any books or social media groups or websites? Obviously, I know we can come to yourself now, so we're going to add that link into the description, but what else can people start doing?
So there is a huge amount of information out there and an awful lot of misinformation. So you need to be careful. If you've not seen the Davina McCall TV program, watch it. 100%. You should be able to download it. She has a great book called Menopause. I think it's Menopausitivity. So it's a menopause positivity joined together.
Yeah.
There is a book called Women's Wisdom, and that's all about menopause. And it's written by Dr. Caroline Northrup. It is, I mean, it's that big. Yeah. It's one of those that you could hold fire doors open with it. A lot of it are medical notes, but it is fascinating and really a good read.
Okay.
But again, anything Louise Minchin from the BBC has written a book. Anything Mariella Fostrop has written a book, and she is, if you look up, what's it called? Menopause Mandate. That is really good information. There's a lot of information out there. If you go on to, there's a charity called the Menopause Charity. That's got a lot of information. Also, if you really want to get into the medical stuff, the NICE guidelines. They're really useful to read before you go to your GP, because they'll tell you shouldn't be put on antidepressants straight away. And also the British Menopause Society. I think it's something called Women's Health Concern, is the general part of the site that is for individuals. They have so much information on there. They're tried and tested and trusted sites. You know, you can get a lot from social media, but be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful. You can trust mine.
Yeah.
But there's some, you have to.
It's knowing your stuff. This is amazing. I have absolutely loved this episode. Thank you so much. Jeanette, for all of our listeners, where can they come and find you for more support, more help, and be able to work with you?
Absolutely. So I have my website, which is all the W's, phoenixwellness.co.uk. You can email me, Jeanette at phoenixwellness.co.uk. But I'm also all over social media, on LinkedIn. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm at Your Menopause Shrink, which one of my friends' husbands came up with that. He was like, oh, so you're a menopause shrink. I'm like, I'm having that. Copywriting that one. But again, I've got a free Facebook group. So if you look up Phoenix Women's Wellness and Menopause, that's free to join. There is the Menopause Cafe group. So yeah, just reach out. I'm running a program at the moment called Seasons of Wisdom, which is touching on the mystical side with menopause. So chakra healing and blending the feminine archetypes. So again, if you look up Seasons of Wisdom, it'll tell you more about that as well.
Love that. Thank you so much. You're going to have helped a lot of our listeners, and I'm sure they'll be coming over to us for more support.
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody needs help, don't suffer in silence or struggle in silence. Put your hand out and ask for help. There's lots of people that will be able to help. And as you can tell, I can talk about menopause literally till the cows come home and beyond. Who would have thought it?
I love it.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing.
I loved it. Love talking to you as well.
Thank you for listening. If you loved it, don't forget to press that subscribe button and the little bell so that you never miss a future episode. We will be back here with a new one on Sunday at 7 a.m. We'll see you there.